So have you ever wondered what it was like to run 100 miles in 1 month? Even if you're not interested in running, stick around because I'm going to touch base on some of the things like heart health, your blood pressure, your heart rate, sleep, and just overall how you feel and what running can do for you, even if you've never done it. I've never done it before, so you're going to be getting a perspective from somebody who's not like a pro athlete or a pro runner. So stick around and let's go ahead and get started. So it's currently January 9th and I'm at like 22 miles so far for the month. So I'm out here getting it done, doing my thing. Gotta push, gotta hit that goal. 100 miles in 1 month. So just a quick disclaimer, I'm not a doctor or a health professional, and while I hope to motivate you to get up today and get out there and be active, if you have any health issues or concerns, please get checked out by a doctor first and make sure that you're safe. So with that said, in January of 2021, I set out to run 100 miles. I've never run that length of distance in 1 month before. I've hit 50 miles in 1 month before. My average month is probably anywhere around 10 to 20 miles. I just run just for fun. I don't do races. It's not anything like that. It's just to try to look and feel the best that I can for my body. So I had my own personal health goals of why I wanted to do it. And it's hard. Running is hard. I'm going to go ahead and get that out of the way right now. But you know, you can get a lot of benefits. And like I mentioned, in the video, I wanted to touch base on some of the things like sleep, heart rate, blood pressure, overall just how I looked, how I felt. And I tracked everything through my watch and my phone. So it tracks my sleep cycle. It tracks my heart rate while I'm working out. And of course, while I'm not working out, it doesn't track my blood pressure, but I do have my own home blood pressure monitor that I take my blood pressure and monitor that regularly. So I feel like I can give you a pretty good rundown of what it's like to run 100 miles and why maybe you should or should not try to run 100 miles yourself. All right, so first things first, I'm going to jump over to screen recording on my phone. I track everything through the Nike Run Club app. It's free. I've been a member, I think, since 2015 of this app. Because like I said, I've run a little on and off here and there over the years. But I'm in my mid-30s, by the way. So lately, it's just something that I've been wanting to try to cut back a little bit on weight, but also look and feel better. And I'll touch base a little bit later in the video on why I think running can help you with that. So it's currently May 8th, and I did the 100 miles back in January, but I also want to say that in the month of May, I'm already up to 27.3 miles. So I'm trying again in the month of May to hit 100 miles again, and so far I'm doing good, but I'm only 8 days in, so we'll see. But in total this year, I've run 183.9 miles, and 100 of those were back in January, and I just wanted to start off by showing you. So we're going to jump back over to the month of January. So as you can see on my screen here, January 2021, I ran 100.1 miles, 25 runs, average pace of 8 minutes and 40 seconds per mile, total 14 hours and 28 minutes. So like I said, it's a hard goal. You will never reach the goal unless if you have ultimate motivation of why you want to do it. And even for me, I was very motivated. Highly motivated, and there were days where I just didn't want to go do it, and here we are 8 days in May, and I have to say there was already one day where it was like, I do not want to go run, but I did. So starting is the hardest part, just getting started. If you're not used to running, it's very difficult, and you're probably going to have to walk some, and that's okay. It's perfectly okay to jog some, walk some, jog some, walk some. But if you're going to run 100 miles in a month, that's roughly an average of 3 miles per day for a normal 30 or 31 day month. You have a little bit of wiggle room, as you'll see as throughout the video goes on. I skipped a couple days in the month of January because I also played tennis, so I think I missed 5 days. So I had to make up for that later in the month. I had to do several 4 and 1 or 2 5-mile days in order to hit my goal. But if you can stay vigilant and stay to the course, it's about 3 miles per day. All right, so back to our screen recording. I first ran, looks like on 12:28, and I started at an average pace of 9 minutes and 33 seconds per mile. So like I said, right when you get started, you're gonna be slower. The other thing that is gonna happen is you're gonna be sore. Your legs by far are gonna be the sorest part, of course, as one would suspect. You're on your legs, you're going 3 miles every single day. So your calves, your feet, your butt muscles. But interestingly enough, my back muscles, right back in the middle of the back, were so sore because if you think about it, as you're running, your arms are going basically like a row. You know, you're rowing probably thousands of times every footstep if you're running properly. Your arms are moving. So it's like little miniature back pulls or rowing, you know. And I remember the first couple days, my leg muscles were just so sore, and so was my back. So it's interesting. You're going to work out things even that you don't expect to work out. So while running mostly is centralized towards using the legs, you're using your entire body and your core, your arms, of course, as well, your shoulders, and of course, your back muscles. So you're using a lot of different muscle groups. As I said, I'm not a pro runner of any kind. I don't want to pretend that I'm an expert at it. But in my opinion, running is by far the hardest cardio or endurance sport that there is to do. I've been on a Peloton. I've done tons of Peloton rides, and while that's difficult, running is most certainly the most difficult for me. My heart rate never gets higher during any other sport or exercise that I do. Running by far pushes me towards my peak. So get that out of the way. Running is hard. Like I said, you're going to have to deal with it. Running, hard. So even though this was at the end of December, I want to start my statistics here because this is when I was pushing myself to see if my body could physically run the 100 miles. So I just wanted you to see that my average pace was 9:33 per mile. My average heart rate was 147, a little bit on the slower side. And I want to stress to you that running never gets easier, but you get better at it. And what I mean by that is, let's say at the beginning of the month, you start out at 9:33 per mile average pace. Your heart rate is 147. And let's say at the end of the month, I finish at 8 minutes per mile. My heart rate's roughly, give or take, around the same. It never got easier, but like I said, I improved. My heart rate may improve. My time is definitely going to improve. And the same is going to happen to you if you continue at it. It doesn't matter where your starting point is. Just get out there and do it. You're going to improve. So on January 1st, New Year's Day, my average pace was 9 minutes per mile, and my average heart rate was 149. So, of course, every day you're going to have little discrepancies in your energy levels, how your body feels. So your runs should fluctuate. You may be faster one day and slower even the next day as you improve, just because, like I said, your body is going to be different from day to day, and so are the conditions. Keep in mind that I ran every single run outside. I live in Florida, so I'm fortunate enough to where in January we had beautiful weather. Most days were probably in the 70s, and but you're dealing with other factors like wind, rain, and some of you, if you live up north, you could be dealing with snow. So there's a lot more to the running than just the running itself. There's a lot more that goes into it. And as a bonus tip, I highly recommend if you're going to run, to try to run outdoors if possible, because it's just a different ball game. Being outside with nature is a lot different than having to be on a treadmill somewhere. So jumping into January 13th, I ran an average pace of 9 minutes and 3 seconds per mile, and my average heart rate was 144 beats per minute. And as you can see, I did 4.02 miles. So my distance was longer on this one because I was a little bit further behind from missing a day. But I still was able to maintain around that 9 minute per mile mark. And that's pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that. So mid-month, right at January 16th, I did miss a couple days at this point, but I wanted to point out that now I had broke the 9 minute average pace mark. So I was at 8:54 and my average heart rate was 122. So something happened, about 15 runs in for me. It was like, my body it clicked, and it was like, okay, we're getting used to this. I ran 4.6 miles, which was really, that's a far run for me. I mean, I'm not an endurance runner whatsoever, and I still never claimed to be one of those, but that's a hard run for me. At the end of these runs, I'm just gassed out, and there's just like nothing left in the tank. But 40 minutes, 122 beats per minute average heart rate, like, it's crazy. I must have been like superhuman on this day, because now, even in May, I don't have those statistics. So January 21st, I ran 4.15 miles, average pace 8:31 per mile, which is really good. Average heart rate 143. These are, when I look back at this, it's awesome. I remember all the feelings of doing this. When you're out there doing it, it's like you're you're wrapped up in it. You're out of breath, you're sweating, whatever it is. It's like, it's hard. So it's crazy to look at this and remember that, you know, I did all this to my body, but so proud that I did. So I want to jump to my last run of the month. It was 4 miles exactly, and I had an average pace of 7:56 per mile. So I broke 8 minutes. Average heart rate of 158. So what that tells me is I was really trying on that run. I was pushing my body probably like 90% or higher at trying to get or achieve these goals. So I can run faster than that. And of course, that's my average pace. I just can't sustain running at that rate, but I can probably run like a 6.5 minute mile, but I could probably only sustain that for literally 1 mile. And then it's, you know, back to trotting. So if you remember, I started out at the beginning of the month of January at 9.5 minutes per mile average pace on a 3 to 4 mile run. And then at the very last run, I was at 7:56 per mile average pace on a 3 to 4 mile run. So I shaved off over 1.5 minutes on my mile time. Okay, so it's Saturday, January 30th. I'm out on my last run of the month. This is my last, about 3 miles left to go. What else can I say? I feel good. Such a roller coaster month, such a hard goal, but I'm about to hit it. And it's a terrific feeling knowing that I set out for a goal and I accomplished it. You can do it. I want to say my goal when training was not to look at my time. I truly don't look at my time. I pay attention to my distance only. But it's just natural. The more you do something, the better you're going to get at it. So if you're going to start, expect to know that you're going to start slow and then you're going to get better. So unfortunately, after the month of January, I was pretty gassed out. So in February, I did 15.1 miles. March, I did 30.6 miles. April, I only did 10.6 miles. So far in May, I've done 8 runs and I've done 27.3 miles. My average pace is at 9 minutes and 3 seconds. So my run today I did was 8 minutes and 51 seconds average pace, which is pretty good. Average heart rate 142. So your heart rate certainly is going to improve, which is good. What that means for your body is that your heart has to work less hard or less difficult to pump the blood throughout the body and do its job. So like I said, no matter where your starting point is, that should improve as well. Even if you just have to walk the 100 miles, your heart rate is going to improve, meaning it's going to get lower on the beats per minute. The more cardio you do, that's naturally going to happen. And like I said, that's a good thing for your heart because it just means that it doesn't have to work as difficult to do its job. So you do get benefits from that. And as well, your blood pressure can lower. I'm not going to say it will. My family, I have hereditary higher on the mid side of high blood pressure. It's not skyrocket high to where I have to be on medication, but it's something that I'm always checking because I don't want to have to be on medication. And pretty much the rest of my family is on medication for blood pressure. So I have to be careful with what I eat. And of course, exercising, doing running, biking, tennis, stuff like that. Those are the 3 things I like to do. That keeps me active enough to where I've been able to regulate my blood pressure and keep it from where I'm having to get onto medication. So when I began the month, I will tell you that my blood pressure was probably an average of like 130. With this being as high as 130, 140 over like 80 to 70-ish, it kind of fluctuates. And of course, blood pressure is going to fluctuate. I can say that at the end of running my 100 miles, I had dropped, sometimes my blood pressure be like 118 or 119 over 71. But my average blood pressure was probably around 125 over 74. And that's just the stats. Like I said, I use the exact same cuff and blood pressure monitor, and I would usually check it in the morning and in the evening. So those averages are coming from using the same exact thing. So the next thing I want to show you is weight. I'm going to go ahead and start off by saying I didn't lose a bunch of weight. However, the way that I look, the way that my clothes fit, I noticed that I dropped a bit of what I would call like water weight, or just a little bit of extra weight that you're carrying on. My face was a little bit thinner. My face was a little thinner then. I put on a couple of pounds since January, but I want to show you on this app. So on January 2nd, I weighed 192.4 pounds. My body fat was at 22.6%. And we'll skip to 1 week later on January 9th. I was 193 pounds. As you can see, the weight is going to fluctuate. I didn't diet. It's not like I was changing a bunch of things in my lifestyle other than running every single day. So I went from 192.4 pounds, 22.6% body fat, actually gained 22.7, so I gained a 0.1% body fat in that week, at least from that. And if we go to Saturday the 30th, I was 191.2 pounds, 22.3% body fat. So like I said, a lot of fluctuations in my body weight, and that's largely based off of how good or how bad I was at eating. So I'm picking a Saturday, which was usually after I had gone out to eat on a Friday, or at least picked up something bad for myself to eat on Friday. So I would say in total, I lost probably a couple of pounds at most. But like I said, I looked better in my clothes. I noticed that I just felt a little slimmer. And really, I was just kind of scraping the tip of the iceberg with my running and everything. I wish that I would have been able to continue more into February, maybe 50 miles a month. That would probably have been a better goal for me. But here we are back in May. I'll let you know how I do after this month of doing 100 miles. So we're going to jump into the health app. So I track my sleep through my Apple Watch. I have an Apple Watch Series 6, and I do sleep with it on, and it works well, and it kind of keeps track of my sleep. So I want to tell you, I was kind of at a stressful time in January. It was just after the holidays. I had started a new job that I wasn't particularly happy at it, so I was going through kind of a rough transition. So running was very much a help throughout this, because I was able to get outside and go be away with my own thoughts, and hopefully focus on just breathing and being in the moment and not letting my mind run wild. So if you're doing running right, I think your mental health can improve, because you should just focus on just being in the moment and running, which I'll touch a little bit more on later. Okay, so what you're seeing is these weird little graph things if you're not familiar with Apple Health. But what it is the blue is time when I was asleep, and those solid black lines are going to be times when I was restless or awake. So this is not too bad. This is probably where I remain at today. I'm good for usually being restless for a couple little lines per night. And sometimes my son will get up in the middle of the night and wake me up. So a lot of these are that. He just gets scared, and then I have to get up and help him out. But as you can see, Monday through Friday, it's a pretty set schedule. I tend to try to go to bed by like 10:30, 10:45 at night. I wish I could get to bed a little bit earlier, but with kids, it's hard. But my average time of sleep was 6 hours and 35 minutes, which just isn't enough. And I really want to mention to you that if you're going to be doing something as strenuous as running 3 miles every single day for basically the entire month, you really should aim for a minimum of 7 hours, hopefully 8 hours of sleep. I think that for most adults, that's going to do it. My sleep schedule since then has changed, and I'm able to get a lot more sleep now, but it's important to have a healthy, regulated sleep schedule. So try to go to bed roughly at the same time every night and get up around the same time every morning. So as we jump into the second week of the month, January 10th through 16th, you can see that these charts look relatively the same. I did have a night here where I didn't get out of bed at all. That one little tiny blip was probably just me rolling over. The bigger the black line, the more restless. So that probably means, like right here, this one I probably got out of bed. So, just to go to the bathroom or to help my son out. And so this week, January 24th through 30th, you can see a little bit more of a solid black line there and a few more. But I have to say that overall, I felt like I slept better because I was just more tired. My body was depleted of its energy. So for some of you that may have trouble sleeping, know that if you go and you run, it's so good to physically get out whatever built up tension. Let's say if you run at the end of the day, you've gone to work or whatever you've done throughout the day, school, doesn't matter. It's really good to get out and to just let your body release whatever negativity or built up tension there could be in your body. Trust me, after doing 3 miles, you're going to be tired, and it's so good to get that out of your system rather than your body keeping it in. So for most folks, I'd like to think that if you push yourself like this, you're probably going to hit the bed at night and you're just going to go to sleep faster, and you're going to sleep deeper and better just because you feel good. You've done hard work and you're ready to go to sleep. So in summary on the sleep, I definitely notice when I run, I'm able to sleep a little bit better. I wouldn't say that it's a night and day difference and that I slept way better. I frequently would get up a couple times a night And there were a few times during the month of January where I was able to sleep and stay in bed all night, which just is new for me. So it was a welcome surprise. So that's going to wrap up the talking about my running experience part. And now I want to try to talk about what might help you if you're looking to start running 100 miles per month. So the number one tip that I would give you is to have a good pair of running shoes. I don't mean Nikes or whatever tennis shoes that you think are good. Try to go to a local running store if you can. Local running stores have knowledgeable staff there that's not just trying to sell you, but they actually care about you. And they'll have you try on a pair of shoes, or they'll take your shoes off and have you walk, and they'll look at your gait and how your foot walks, because some of us heel strike heel first. I kind of heel strike first. And some of us will pronate, but basically we all have different feet shapes. We also all land and walk a little bit differently on our feet. So what works for me would be the Hoka Clifton, and this is the version 7. So this works for me. This is what I ran all of those 100 miles in. This is still the shoe that I'm running in, and I'm not sponsored or anything by them. I do like their shoes. They are a very cushiony type shoe, plush. So like I said, my heel strikes the ground first, so that kind of absorbs some of that shock. Number two thing that I would recommend would be having a good pair of headphones. Now I have some Powerbeats Pro, but I mostly ran in my Apple AirPods Pro. So I do like the AirPods Pro just because I have an Apple iPhone, but it doesn't really matter what headphones you get. Make sure they are waterproof or sweat-proof, just because, like I said, you're probably going to be sweating. I sweat a lot, and I know that mine are going to get wet, and you don't want your headphones to get ruined. But headphones for me is a big thing, and I think for most of you, you're going to be going for 30, 40 plus minutes every single day, whether you're going outside or you're at a gym or you're on a treadmill somewhere. It's good to have either music that will motivate you, or a podcast, or Audible, something like that. I do a mixture of all three of those depending on what mood I'm in that day, and my mood definitely fluctuates. So good to have some good water-resistant headphones so that you can listen to something that can keep you on track. The number 3 thing that I would recommend is having a good watch that can track your workouts, or a phone that can track your workouts. So for the longest time, I did not have an Apple Watch. I only got an Apple Watch roughly a year ago, and I always use the Nike Run Club on my iPhone. And that does great, but it will not track your heart rate. So it will track your miles and use your GPS on your phone as long as your phone is with you. So I would put mine in my pocket. You just open the Nike Run Club app, you start the run, and go. And so once you're done, you hit stop, and it'll tell you in real time what your time is, how quick or how slow you're running. It will tell you your distance. So for me, it's really easy. I run to a park that's like a mile or so away from my house. So I start and I run there, and I do a couple laps. But basically, the rule of thumb is when you're out running, you run away from your house or wherever your starting point is. And when you reach 1.5 miles, you're at the halfway point, and you can turn around and start coming back. The beauty of having some kind of smartwatch is it probably has the ability to track your heart rate. Mine does not have GPS, so it relies on my phone. But like I said, it tracks the heart rate. I can start the workout right on my watch on the Nike Run Club app. Another good important tool is going to be hydration. So I don't mean buying Gatorade. Water oftentimes isn't enough, but I use these Noon hydration tablets. They're spelled N-U-U-N. You can look those up on Amazon. They're just little tablets, kind of like an Alka-Seltzer kind of tablet that you break up and you put into water, and it kind of fizzles up and dissolves into the water. Those are great for hydration, but make sure you stay hydrated. Drink before and after your run. Running 100 miles is no joke, and you need to make sure that you keep up with your hydration. The last thing that I would recommend is if you're running outside, to have a good pair of glasses, sunglasses, because your eyes, you're going to deal with the sun and whatever else, but there's always going to be harmful UV rays. So I have a pair of running sunglasses that have polarization in them because, like I said, I'm in Florida and I'm always running by water. So that reflection from the sun is not only hitting you from above, but it's bouncing and reflecting off water and then hitting you from below. So it's really harmful to your eyes. So protect your eyes. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned something about it. Hopefully you liked it. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those down below. I'm always looking to hopefully try and help you, but if you can help me, do you have any helpful advice, feel free to leave that down below as well. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, we'll see you guys in the next video.